Hello, guys. I hope everybody is doing well, and I would like to shit all over these two guys a little bit again, the Serpentza and Laowhy86. And the thing I want to really mention is how these guys absolutely don't know what they're talking about the majority of the time. Now, they do have some insights, having spent 10 years, like they keep reminding everybody, that they've done in the country teaching English and cruising around on the bikes and hooking up with Chinese girls, which is look. I put myself on the same level as them. Like that's kind of what I would do. A lot of people travel to places like China, Taiwan, Vietnam, and they go and work there, and they get pretty reasonable pay compared to the native people there. So they get a reasonably high pay to live there, and it's often a job for people that don't really have anything else going on in their life. So they go and travel, and it's a very easy way to like hook up with girls overseas and get reasonable money and have an interesting experience. So I'm not blaming them. Again, they're about the same level as where I'm at, and that's not a very high level. And look, I appreciate you guys listening to me, but I'm not a Miyazama or even the new Atlas guy. Oh, what's his name? Anyway, well, I'm not on their level. Like I've got some intelligence, but I'm pretty lazy, and I'm sort of like just a shit kicker on YouTube. And certainly, I want people to listen, and I do think I have some insightful stuff, but I don't feel like I deserve 4 million views for some of these videos talking about just ridiculous nonsense that doesn't make any sense. Like, and one thing that inspired me to make this video is this one. He made a video about China hiding its homeless people, pretending they don't exist. And the irony, of course, is when you look at what's happened just recently with Xi, the leader of China, coming to San Francisco, where the West America literally tried to do that. They tried to hide. Well, I don't know how they succeeded, but they attempted to hide all the homeless people and all their problems so that they could have some kind of decent presentation of Western culture, when in reality it's all falling apart and people are living in literal shit. San Francisco has like poop patrol, where people go around cleaning human feces off the street because people keep shitting on the street, and it only takes like one day for the shit to come back. So that's the reality in Western countries. Now, this guy will have you believe that the reason why he doesn't talk about that, and he only mentions China, is there's just it's always in the Western media about all the problems the West has, and there's some of that in the West. But if you look at the anti-Chinese propaganda, it's they don't need you guys to help. I mean, they'll take you guys, and you have lots of views, and they'll use you as paid shills to be anti-Chinese, Western, pro-Western morons talking nonsense, and they'll give you some money for it. But they don't need you. Like if you look at all typical mainstream media, it's all anti-China. China's evil. China's going to kill everybody and take over the world, when in fact it's the West and NATO and America and the World Economic Forum actually doing all that kind of bullshit. The garden, the so-called garden, uh, while the rest of the people are in the jungle, right? That's the kind of racism, colonialism, whatever you want to call it, nonsense that's in the West, where they just carpet bomb countries and commit actual genocide, while idiots like this spew the word genocide without actually addressing when real genocide actually happens. They don't mention it. They still haven't made any videos about Palestine, except one where it's blaming China apparently for the issues that are happening there. Even though again, I hate to have to remind people, but America has been carpet bombing the Middle East for the last 20 past years. Probably even before that. I mean, since Clinton for sure. Um, so yeah, like it's ridiculous how these people have so many views. And Biden called Xi a dictator again. That's the other thing I want to mention. I've talked about this before. How in the West we really or in the world right now, we don't really have a good choice anymore. We're kind of choosing the worst of the best. Now, is she a dictator? Yeah, probably he is, but it's sort of like a mute point considering in the West we don't really have a proper democracy. All our governments are controlled by a shadow government, the swamp, whatever you call it, a bunch of different families or corporations that dictate exactly what the government puppets should do in any major decisions. Sure, the politicians we quote unquote elect, if you believe that Biden is the most popular president in US history, I mean, if you believe that, then whatever, you elected him. He's the most elected president in America. Okay. But yeah, if you believe he's got actual control, I mean, he might have a bit of influence about just like minor issues in politics and things like this, but on the big issues, it's already decided for you. And if you try to make any change, then well, you'll see what's gonna happen. But if you actually try to elect like a third party in America or in Australia, not the last election, but the election before that, I believe, a minor party or some minor parties actually got a little bit of sway. Like they got some seats that I guess they shouldn't have had. And what did the Australian government do? They changed the whole electoral system to be different so that it was less of an opportunity for the minor parties to get any sway. So that's what they'll do until they can infiltrate them. So they'll do that. It's a band-aid solution until they can actually infiltrate the minor parties where they're getting popular and control them as well. That's kind of like the standard procedure. So if you actually chose a different party, in Germany they're trying to ban one of the parties, and yeah, Ukraine is just a joke when it comes to democracy. So that's the kind of values you have. That's the kind of democracy we have in the West. So again, calling she a dictator, is he a dictator? Kind of is, to be fair. But that's not to say that he doesn't have a lot of people behind him as well. Like, in fact, if anything, China might be less of a dictatorship than the West is, because we just don't know. Because not only the Western propaganda is so good, but the way they cover up the swamp is quite good. And there's a lot of all we have is kind of theories and all these things about who's actually in control, but we don't really know. It's just very well hidden. That's one thing I'll say. But the West does really well is it's pretty good at brainwashing people and pulling the wool over people's eyes. So don't blame yourself for getting things wrong so far. If you did, if you haven't like become woke until recently, but it's about time. I mean, if now isn't the time, like when is? With everything that's going on, I'm hoping it really shattered some people's reality. And when your reality is shattered this way, when you don't know what's going on, it's an opportunity to either conform or to take a different point of view. And this is the beautiful thing, is that you can have this opportunity to take a different point of view, to break out of your preconceived notions, to your loyalty to certain parties or ideologies, and just look at things for what they are and decide. And sometimes the choice is going to be gray. Like sometimes you might have to choose between, and I think that's what we're doing, is we're choosing between the best of the best of the worst, really. But it's still a choice that you're gonna have to make. And you look at these guys, and all of the videos are just one-sided, and there's nothing like, it's all anti-China, how the West is great, how China's collapsing, and there's just like no facts there. And again, yeah, these guys, this is pretty much the example of the graphic of him is even though this is a clickbait, right? I should watch this video and see what it's about actually. But this is what they are. They're clowns with paid shills, and that's how you should treat them. And go watch videos every once in a while if you're curious, I guess, about some Chinese things. But from what I heard about other people say about them, is they're just and from what I've seen, is they're just rehashing old videos from years ago. That's probably not what China is actually like now. and I have to go to China to actually give you my example of it. But I've been to Vietnam, and I can tell you Vietnam is way more free than at least Australia is. Maybe not as free as America, but as far as comparing Australia to Vietnam, also a communist country, there's way more individual freedom there from what I have seen. So thank you guys, that's the video I wanted to make. I hope you enjoyed it, and I might even shit all over these guys a little bit more. Just take a nice big San Francisco human street dump all over these guys in the future as well. But until then, check out 86 Laowhy, like the guy I linked in the video below. He does really cool stuff. That's this guy here. His commentary is fantastic. I hope this is his original channel and not someone just rehashing his stuff, but he deserves way more. He deserves like millions of people subscribing to him, actually. His videos are great and funny and well edited, unlike mine now. Anyway guys, thank you for listening and all the best. Hope you have a good day.